Hi, friends. We're on to our next day of our back to school stories. So today is another story about a dog going to school. Why do all the dogs go to school? All right, so let me share my screen. It's called Little Lucy Goes to School. Lucy was a little beagle. She liked to run. She liked to bark. She liked to howl. Howl! Most of all, she liked her boy, Bobby Quinn, and he liked her just as much. Mornings were busy at the Quinn house. Mrs. Quinn made breakfast. Mr. Quinn made the lunches. Bobby ran around looking for his books. Lucy just ran around. After breakfast, Mr. Quinn went to work. Then it was Bobby's turn to leave. He shook Lucy's paw. I have to go to school, he said. School is where I learn new things. Be good, Lucy. Oh, she looked sad. Lucy flopped on the floor. Things were quiet when Bobby was gone. Why couldn't Bobby stay home and play? Mrs. Quinn spotted something. Oh no, she said, Bobby forgot his lunch. Lucy looked up at Mrs. Quinn. Oh, look, I think she's taken Lucy. Well, Lucy, she said, we will have to bring it to him. Mrs. Quinn grabbed Bobby's lunchbox. She picked up Lucy. Out they went. The ride to the school was short. Mrs. Quinn parked the car. I should have brought your leash, Mrs. Quinn told Lucy. She picked up the lunch. She picked up Lucy. They hurried into the school. Lucy looked around. What was this new place all about? Colored drawings hung on the wall. A group of kids walked through the hall. This looked interesting. Mrs. Quinn went into the school office. A young woman stood by a desk. I'm Jill, she said. Can I help you? Hi, Jill, Mrs. Quinn said. I'm Bobby Quinn's mother. He forgot his lunch. She held up the lunchbox. I'll get it to him, Jill said. And who is this? She patted Lucy's head. This is Lucy, Mrs. Quinn said. Can I hold her? Jill asked. Mrs. Quinn started to hand Lucy over, but before Jill could take her, Lucy wiggled. Then Lucy wriggled. In a flash, she was free. Uh-oh. And when she was free, she ran out the office door. Lucy, Mrs. Quinn called. Lucy heard her, but she didn't stop. There was too much to see in this new place. Lucy ran down a long hall. She ran past a boy with brown hair and a girl with a ponytail. It's a dog, the boy said. Stop, the girl called. Dogs don't belong in school. Lucy heard her, but she didn't stop. She followed her nose, and her nose smelled food. She scooted into a bright, shiny room. Pots and pans sat on a big stove. The good smells tickled her nose. A woman in an apron had held a tray of sandwiches. Uh-oh. Lucy ran in a circle around the lady's legs. She barked a little bark. Oh, the lady said, what is a dog doing in this kitchen? A few sandwiches fell on the floor. That was good news for Lucy. She leaped on the sandwiches and took some bites. Stop, little one, the lady said. Dogs don't belong in school. Oh, she took off with the sandwich. She tried to grab a sandwich from Lucy. Then she tried to grab Lucy, but Lucy was too fast. She ran out of the lunchroom door. Lucy's having quite an adventure. Now where? Lucy followed her nose again. A funny smell came from a room with lots of books. Lucy peeked in. A man with a mop was cleaning the floor. Lucy patted in. She sniffed the floor. The floor was wet. Lucy's paws got wet, and she slid a little. The man turned around. He saw Lucy. Am I seeing things? He asked. Lucy barked. He was not seeing things. Come with me, doggy, the man said. Dogs don't belong in the library. He made a move towards Lucy. Uh-oh, now they're all chasing Lucy. The man with the mop was after her. So was the lady in the apron. Mrs. Quinn came around the corner. Lucy, stop, Mrs. Quinn called. I think Lucy's having too much fun. Lucy did not want to come with the man. Out of the library she ran. She glanced behind her. Lucy heard her, but she didn't stop. This was too much fun. Lucy was fast. No one could catch her. She dashed down a hallway. She saw an open door. She scooted inside. Uh-oh, all kinds of kids in that one. The room was full of children. Lucy looked at them. They looked back at Lucy. Then she heard a voice she knew. Lucy? Bobby called. What are you doing here? Bobby! Lucy was so glad to see her boy. She jumped into his lap. She licked his face. The kids left their seats. They crowded around Bobby. They'd never seen a dog at school. Mrs. Lee, Bobby's teacher, clapped her hands. Back to your seats, please, she said. Bobby, what is Lucy doing here? I don't know, Bobby said, but he was sure glad to see her. Lucy was tired from all that running. She curled up in Bobby's arms. Oh, here comes his mom and everyone. Just then, the man with the mop, the lady in the apron, and Mrs. Quinn rushed into the room. There she is, Mrs. Quinn said. She pointed to Lucy. I brought Bobby's lunch to the office, she told Mrs. Lee. But Lucy got away. It's all right, Mrs. Lee said. It's funny to have a dog in school, at least for a little while. Mrs. Quinn took Lucy from Bobby. It's time to go home, she said firmly. Dogs don't belong in school. Aw. Lucy yawned. Maybe it was time to leave, but she had learned a lot in school. Sandwiches tasted good. Wet floors were slick. Running through halls was fun. Bobby gave Lucy one last hug. I'll be home soon, Lucy, he said. We'll have more fun then. Bobby licked Lucy's face. Fun. She could hardly wait. So she had quite an adventure, didn't she? What a lot of fun she had in school. Do you think dogs belong in school? I think some dogs go to school. I know a couple of teachers who bring their dog to school sometimes. Yeah. All right, friends. Have a great day. Bye-bye.